what I'd like to be able to do is raise the question: is this COVID-19, the coronavirus, the Japheth justice plague? Is it a plague against? I'm going to do some historical looks at this and my own other time, not now, and look at some of the nations of Africa that were Islamic, and some of the nations of Africa that where the Muslims were heavy involved in the slave trade. Now, don't get all discombobulated. Every time you hear the word slave, you get all, your conscience start beating you half to death, and then you get angry. Just listen to me. But did God bring plagues upon Africa because of the participation in slave trade? I don't know if you know of the Sahara. Probably the northern part from Egypt to all the way over to Morocco, and nearly every place at the crown of Africa and all the way down to the Congo is as dry as a desert. It's called the Sahara Desert. Well, years earlier, satellite images show that the Sahara Desert used to have Earth's largest lake. 10,000 miles of lake was right there in the midst of what's now the Sahara Desert. It was plush with greens, with grass, with trees, with jungle, going back, several thousand years ago. And now it's a desert where it used to have more water than any place on planet Earth. The city of Savannah, Georgia, thank you, Mr. Engineer, 6,000 years ago, this now a desert, used to be the greatest place of water and green vegetation on the planet, what is now known as the Sahara, and it covers several countries in Africa. But the city of Savannah, Georgia is a savanna. There's the Sahara, and then there's Savannah. Savannah, Georgia, sitting on the coast of the Atlantic, is one of the greenest, lushest, plushest, vegetation and water places. It's a savanna. Actually, the name savanna indicates heavily induced with water and with lush green. And so you have Savannah, Georgia, and you have Savannah, Africa. Were some of the famines placed on Africa as a result of many of the Islamic Muslims? And I don't hate y'all, brothers, because I know y'all in Ramadan now. I don't want to get all, get your Ramadan and get y'all by standing outside the church, assalamu alaikum me, or whatever it is, inshallah. But my question is, is this coronavirus a plague upon the Japheth man? And I'm going to try to distinguish that. And then because some of y'all are so imbalanced, you ain't ready to take nothing against nobody, but nobody against yourself, but you're always ready to hear something against someone else. As it was many of the famines in Africa going back a couple of decades ago, in fact, a generation ago, many of the plagues and famines in Africa was a result of the African Muslims participating in the slave trade, and God whooped their behinds with famines and killed a whole lot of them. We're going to try to correlate that today. That's what we're going to be covering here on the Manning Report. So is this COVID-19 coronavirus a Japheth justice plague? And then more specifically, the topic, is America the target of this plague? Let me raise this question to you. And you can argue with me. We won't fall out. You don't have to hate me, and you don't have to disengage. And we're not going to be enemies. I'm going to, you present a different argument, and I'm not going to get upset with you. You're going to be wrong, obviously. But if you look now at what's happened, there are more people per capita more people have been infected. There 2 million people that have been, nearly 3 million people now that have been infected by the coronavirus plague, right? And leave that right there, Mr. Engineer. Go ahead. And nearly 3 million, and of the nearly 3 million, 1 million, a third of all the world's diagnoses and infections of the coronavirus is in America. Nearly 1 million of the 3 million. And of the other 2 million coronavirus, and we can do this again another way, Mr. Engineer, but leave that there for the second. Of the 3 million people that have died, that have been infected rather, the largest portion of them are in the Japheth nations: France, Germany, Spain, England, and America. All right? So, and this is the land of the Japheth. This is all Japheth land. This is all Japheth land. As you can see, a lot of Africa is not necessarily, they've got red blotches, and that's probably not the best diagram. So drop that, Mr. Engineer, drop that. And then the other thing is, the Johns Hopkins University is reporting that since they have been taking count now of the COVID-19 coronavirus deaths globally, 207,000 people have been killed by this virus, this plague, right? And again, most of them are in Italy, France, Germany, England, bingo, in America. And of the 207,000 people that have been killed by this virus, 55,000 of them are here in America. 1/4 of the total kill of COVID-19 is in America. So if you look at America being an extraordinarily Japheth nation, right? And then Italy, Spain, and Spain is, it ain't all that Japheth, but it's heavily influenced by the Sephardics and by Japheth, by the Shemites and the Sephardics and the Japheth. And then, of course, England. Well, England swings like a pendulum do. Bobby's like a bicycle too, by two. Westchester Abbey, the Tower of Big Ben, the rosy red cheeks of the little children. Little Roger Miller there for some of y'all, especially for my friend Bob Jackson. So of the 207,000 people that have died, right, 55,000 of those people are right here in America. And the number, we're going to see 100,000 people deaths in America because this COVID-19 is just beginning to work on the boys out there in the heartland. Them boys in Kansas, them boys in Iowa, Idaho, them boys out there in Colorado, them boys up there in South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, them boys in Indiana, Ohio, them boys in Georgia, them boys in South Carolina, North Carolina, them boys in Arkansas, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas. He's just beginning to work. He's just getting his shoes on to get out there because he got some death for them boys too. You'll see it reach 100,000 very easily. And by the way, the prognosticators are saying that, Dr. Burks of the world, the Dr. Fauci's of the world, and they're saying it underneath undertone, but others are coming on and saying this thing ain't over with. They don't even know if the people who have had it, except for the people of ATLAH, that they have an antibody, that they're antibiotic, that they, in other words, they get it, if it comes around again, their body's already learned how to fight it. They're not even sure that's the thing. And a vaccine, now listen to this, a true vaccine, ask Dr. Jonas Salk, who developed the vaccine for polio, the scourge. Took 15 years. And the AIDS is also a virus, hit in the late 70s and the early 80s, and they still have not developed a vaccine to vaccinate you against AIDS. Measles took several years. You get a little measles, everybody, you got a measles, you get a measles and chicken pox and smallpox, right? You get vaccinated, you don't get that no more. But the vaccine took several years. And at the earliest, they're going to be able to find a vaccine for this. Could be 1.5 to 2 to 3 years. They could be as long as another 10 years before they come up with a vaccine. All these people running around, talking about that, like Mr. Snake Eyes, Mike Pence. That boy got snake eyes. He's standing behind Trump with them looking at them snake eyes like, you big dumb piece of you-know-what, you big dumb stupid. I can't wait until you're dead so I can become the president. Mike Pence, right? Said the other day that, that this all be over by Memorial Day. Remember, Trump said it's going to be over by Easter, right? You wonder where these, what is it with these people? Not only is the coronavirus, COVID-19, You know, it seems like it's aimed directly just at Japheth people, but it also seems like foolishness is aimed at them too. And then the other thing, you know, New York City is the capital of the world. You know that, right? Not Beijing, not Shanghai. I know Shanghai is larger city. Beijing has got more people. You know, and then Wuhan, I think got some 17 million people within this province, right? Your China is double down heavily populated. But New York, everybody knows New York is the capital of the world. And guess where the most, and it's Japheth's capital of the world too, by the way. Guess where the most deaths are taking place? New York City. Now God's gonna move on out there in the heartland, but right now New York got hit hard, and New Jersey, his neighbor, got hit harder than you can imagine with the process of COVID-19. But you need to raise the question: Is this God's justice against Japheth? And I raise the question, and those people that are dying, should we rejoice at that? Because God's not afraid of prophesying that people will die. And then, of course, and we got Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24. We got the tribulation. So what's up with all of this? Is this the hand of God? And is it specifically? They're running around here saying there are more people dying disproportionately than are Hamites, right? Chicago, I think. Chicago makes up 32% of the people that live in Chicago are Hamites, but yet 57% of the people that are dying are Hamites. So, and the Japheth people are not dying, etc. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.